Welcome back to my channel Stamps Old World UK, the place where history, art, and value meet in the fascinating world of classic postage stamps. Today's video is a very special and detailed journey because we are talking about one of the most iconic and widely collected classic stamps from the old world of philately, a 1-cent blue stamp from the United States that represents the early postal history of the 19th century and continues to attract collectors and investors even today. This stamp belongs to the early issues of the United States and was produced in the mid to late 19th century, a time when stamps were still a new invention and postal systems were developing rapidly. The design shows a profile portrait of a famous historical statesman framed inside an oval with classic engraved lines, giving it a strong, elegant, and timeless appearance. The deep blue color, the fine line engraving, and the simple 1-cent denomination make this stamp instantly recognizable to collectors all over the world. What makes this stamp truly important is not just its age, but its role in everyday communication during a crucial period of history. Millions of letters traveled across cities and states with this small 1-cent stamp attached, carrying personal messages, business documents, and official correspondence. Because of this heavy usage, finding examples today in clean and well-preserved condition is not always easy, and this is one of the reasons why market value can vary so widely. Now let us talk about market value in today's dollar terms. The value of this stamp depends mainly on condition, centering, color strength, perforations, and whether it is used or unused. A used example with heavy cancellation marks, worn corners, and poor centering can still be collected, but its value in today's market is usually modest. In current market conditions, such a heavily used example may sell for around $20 to $50, depending on overall appearance and demand at the time of sale. If the stamp is used but in better condition, with clearer design details, lighter cancellation, and more balanced margins, the value increases significantly. Collectors are willing to pay more for stamps that display the engraving clearly and have not been damaged by tears or stains. In today's US market, a well-preserved used example can reach prices in the range of $80 to $200, especially if sold through a reputable auction or dealer. Unused examples are where values start to climb much higher. An unused stamp from this issue, especially one that still has original gum on the back, is far more desirable and much harder to find. In today's US dollar market, an unused example without gum may sell between $300 and $600, while an unused example with original gum and no defects can easily reach $800 to $1,500, or even more, depending on centering and overall eye appeal. Another important factor that collectors look for is rarity within varieties. Some stamps from this issue were printed using different papers, grills, or printing methods, and these small technical differences can change the value dramatically. Certain rare varieties are known to sell for tens of thousands of dollars at major auctions. However, identifying these varieties usually requires expert knowledge, magnification, and sometimes professional certification. It is also important to understand that the stamp market is influenced by global collector demand. Classic United States stamps remain highly popular among collectors in America, Europe, and Asia. This steady international interest helps keep prices stable and in many cases rising over the long term. For collectors who see stamps not only as a hobby but also as a long-term investment, this type of classic stamp continues to be very attractive. If you own a stamp like this and want to know its exact value, it is always recommended to have it examined by a professional stamp dealer or a recognized philatelic expert. Certification can confirm authenticity, condition, and variety, and this can significantly affect resale value. Never clean or attempt to repair an old stamp, as this can destroy its value instantly. In conclusion, this classic 1-cent blue stamp is much more than just a small piece of paper. It is a surviving witness of history, craftsmanship, and communication from another era. In today's market, its value can range from a few tens of dollars to many thousands, depending on condition and rarity. This is what stamp collecting is so exciting, because every stamp has a story, and sometimes that story is worth far more than you might expect. Next up, the United States 2-cent stamp featuring a classical female profile, often associated with liberty and symbolic national identity from the 19th century. This 2-cent stamp is a wonderful example of classic American engraving work. The design shows a finely detailed female portrait placed inside an oval frame, surrounded by ornate scrollwork and bold lettering that clearly states the denomination. The rich blue color immediately catches the eye and gives the stamp a strong visual presence. During the period when this stamp was issued, engraving was done entirely by hand, making each line and curve a testament to the craftsmanship of the time. Historically, the 2-cent denomination played an important role in postal history. It was commonly used for domestic mail rates during specific periods, especially for printed matter, circulars, and newspapers. Because it was used frequently, many surviving examples today show signs of wear, heavy cancellations, or fading. This heavy usage directly affects scarcity in higher grades and has a major influence on market value in today's US dollar terms. Now let us talk about the current market value of this 2-cent blue stamp. As with all classic stamps, condition is the single most important factor. A heavily used example with strong cancellation marks, poor centering, and visible wear is still collectible, but usually falls on the lower end of the value scale. In today's market, such a stamp typically sells for around 15 to 40 US dollars, depending on overall appearance and collector demand. A used stamp in better condition, with clearer engraving details, balanced margins, and a lighter cancellation, is far more desirable. Collectors appreciate stamps where the portrait remains sharp and the blue color retains its depth. In current market conditions, a well-preserved used example can reach values between 75 and 180 US dollars, especially when offered through a trusted dealer or stamp auction. Unused examples of this 2-cent stamp are significantly rarer and command much higher prices. An unused stamp without original gum may sell in the range of 250 to 500 US dollars, depending on centering and freshness. An unused example with original gum, free from faults such as thinning or creases, can easily achieve prices between 700 and 1,200 US dollars in today's market, and sometimes even more if the centering is exceptional. Collectors should also be aware that this issue includes different printings, shades, and paper types. Some variations are much scarcer than others and can dramatically increase value. Certain rare shades or plate varieties are known to sell for several thousand US dollars, especially when certified by a recognized philatelic authority. These subtle differences are often invisible to the untrained eye, but are extremely important in serious collecting. Another factor that supports the value of this 2-cent stamp is ongoing global interest in classic United States philately. Collectors from the United Kingdom, Europe, Asia, and North America continue to compete for high-quality examples. This consistent demand helps maintain stable prices and long-term growth potential, making classic stamps like this attractive not only to hobbyists, but also to long-term collectors. If you own this stamp and are unsure about its value, it is always best to consult a professional stamp dealer or submit it for expert certification. Authentication confirms that the stamp is genuine and has not been altered or repaired, which is critical for protecting its market value. Never attempt to clean or modify an old stamp, as this can permanently reduce its worth. In conclusion, the United States 2-cent blue stamp is a beautiful and historically important piece of postal history. Its market value in today's US dollars can range from modest amounts for heavily used examples to well over $1,000 for pristine, unused specimens. This wide range is what makes stamp collecting so fascinating, because every individual stamp tells a unique story through its condition, usage, and survival over time. Next up, the 3-cent purple stamp featuring Thomas Jefferson, one of the most important figures in American history and the 3rd President of the United States. This 3-cent stamp belongs to the 20th century era of United States postage, a period when stamp production became more standardized, but still retained strong engraved quality and historical significance. The design shows a dignified side profile of Thomas Jefferson, carefully engraved with fine detail that highlights his hair, facial expression, and formal appearance. The rich purple color gives the stamp a bold and distinctive look, while the clear denomination and text make it instantly recognizable to collectors around the world. Historically, the 3-cent denomination played a major role in everyday postal use in the United States. For many years, 3 cents was the standard first-class letter rate, meaning this stamp was used on millions upon millions of letters sent across the country. Because of this heavy usage, the stamp is quite common in used condition, but condition and preservation still play a very important role in determining market value today. When discussing market value in current US dollar terms, it is important to start with used examples. A typical used stamp with a clear cancellation, average centering, and no major damage is very affordable and popular among beginner collectors. In today's market, such used examples usually sell for around $1 to $5, depending on overall appearance and the clarity of the design. Used examples in exceptional condition can be slightly more valuable. Stamps with light cancellations, strong color, sharp perforations, and well-balanced centering are more desirable to collectors who focus on quality. In today's market, a very fine used example may reach values between $80 and $150, especially when sold in specialized stamp markets or collections. Unused examples of the 3-cent Thomas Jefferson stamp are more desirable and command higher prices. An unused stamp without original gum typically sells in the range of $100 to $250, depending on freshness and centering. An unused example with full original gum, no hinge marks, and no faults is considered much more collectible. In current market conditions, such stamps can sell for approximately $300 to $750, with higher prices achieved for examples in excellent condition. Collectors should also be aware that this stamp exists in different printings, perforation types, and shades. While most varieties are common, some subtle differences can add interest and, in rare cases, additional value. Specialized collectors often seek perfectly centered examples or plate number multiples, which can significantly increase desirability and price. Another important factor affecting value is demand. Thomas Jefferson is a highly respected historical figure, and stamps featuring him are popular not only with stamp collectors, but also with history enthusiasts. This broad interest helps keep demand strong and ensures that these stamps remain easy to sell and enjoyable to collect. While this stamp is not rare, its historical importance and classic design give it lasting appeal. If you have this stamp and wish to know its exact value, always examine its condition carefully. Look for tears, creases, thinning, missing perforations, or fading, as these defects reduce value. If you believe you have an exceptionally fine example or a possible variety, consulting a professional stamp dealer or expert can help confirm authenticity and market value. In conclusion, the United States 3-cent purple Thomas Jefferson stamp is a classic 20th century American postal history. While it is generally affordable, its value in today's US dollar market depends strongly on condition and originality. From a few dollars for common used copies to several dozen dollars for pristine unused examples, this stamp remains a favorite among collectors of all levels. Thank you for watching Stamps Old World UK. If you enjoy long, informative videos about classic stamps and their real market value today, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with fellow stamp lovers. More detailed stamp stories and value guides are coming very soon.